Hey there, Dangar Stu here. Today's video is about fixing the Yamaha F70 that was leaking oil and is proudly sponsored by MarineEngine.com. This video begins with finishing the engine and ends with mounting it back onto a hull, so let's get going. First job in getting this outboard back together was to flatten off some of the high points after the welding. I didn't want to put the entire power head onto a sheet of glass because the pipe that was welded was actually higher than the gasket surface, and I didn't want to reduce that given it actually goes into a cavity. There's no problem with it being high. I also gave the engine a good clean, a good flush out, because there was some debris from the die grinder I used to clean the area up that was being welded. I'm also going to run the original oil filter for a little while, and then we'll do an oil change with the new oil filter before it goes back to the customer. You would normally put the base gasket between the power head and the midsection on dry, but because we did have to clean up this sort of gasket mating surface, we thought, you know, a little bit of 515 is going to stop any minor leaks we might get from that not being a perfect surface anymore. Here's the new base gasket. Going to chuck this on and put a bit more sealant on the top side before we drop the power head on. The gasket sits on some dowels, so it's pretty easy to get it, lined up in the right position. There's no risk that when you drop the power head on, it ends up, out of position. All right, getting the oil pump back on. This is the gear selector, which on this outboard rotates rather than being a push-pull. It also bolts onto the front of the power head, which is a little bit harder to get to once it's in position. Some say his Mohawk has more oil in it than the Exxon Valdez spill. We know him as forklift stick.
That's pretty good there, I reckon. Yeah. Down to go? Yeah, go down. Down, Terence, go. Men's underwear.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that seems to go onto that one nicely, doesn't it? Do you want a pair of pliers?
It's just oily, that's all. Oh, that's on. And then... At this point, Adrian and I headed out to a dive job on the river. A boat had picked up its mooring and was hanging off it. They had the mooring line around the prop, so we had to get that off, obviously. It was pretty bound up, and because it had dragged the float, the buoy down with it, it's a little bit tricky because you've got to sort of fight the buoyancy of the buoy to get it under the prop shaft. I didn't want the boat floating down the river without me once we undid it. So first job was actually to tie a mooring line to the ground chain of the mooring. That way the boat was secured. We could also get the guys to put quite a bit of tension on that line and try and put some slack in the mooring line that was bound on the prop to make it easier to get off.
It's tied off now, so you can pull that as tight as you can.
Sometimes if you're super lucky, you can start the engine again and simply spin it in the opposite direction to the way you picked up the line and it will come off. In this case, the guys had tried quite a few different things without any success, so that's why we got the call. Easy option, of course, is just to get a knife out and cut it, but, then you don't have a mooring line, so it was worth just spending the time to untangle it. Once the original mooring was back on the boat, final job was to head back down and disconnect the temporary mooring line, so everything was back as it should be.
Yeah. Cool, thanks mate. Forklift Stig without his helmet on. You look a lot like Ben Collins. Very good, thank you. Alright.
Is this the new GoPro? I know it's an upgraded.
It's an old one. It's just got the casing so I can put the external mic in.
Oh, okay, yep. It's pretty flash.
So what do you think our chances are of getting this out?
Oh, it's a 50-50 go, I reckon.
50-50.
50-50. So
Did you remember the snatch strap?
No, I didn't remember the snatch. No, I forgot all about it. Even forgot the new.
I was actually going to text you.
Those oysters just making me hungry. Might be some cables.
Pop it on a charger.
There's the fuel line. There's wires here and cables, so...
Yeah, and that's a hose, fuel hose, and a fuel filter.
Yeah, fuel filter. Looks like a new one of them.
There's not that much to do, really.
By lunchtime, be done.
Oh, totally.
Oh, look at that. Whatever that is.
Jam cleat.
Is that an anchor? Hook that on the front.
Ah, anchor chain.
Put that on. Chain that onto the front of the bull bar.
There it goes. He definitely said it was a dead end though, didn't he?
Yeah. Look, I'm happy to go and get the excavator. You can probably just floor it and then just
Yeah, right.
hook it around.
I feel like this is more of a challenge though.
Yeah, I like the challenge.
Yeah. Okay. Centre diff lock engaged. Maybe. Alright. This is not ideal.
Back. Bit more, up. A little bit forward. We're up, that's it. Yeah, hold it flat. I think it's out.
We lift it with a franner.
Yeah, well, I think I'll have to. Hang on, I'll back to...
Given how bad my back feels at the moment.
Suddenly Adrian seemed to forget which lever you use to lower the hook. I don't know why. He normally remembers quite easily, but strange.
It's already blocked up. See in your way again. Just drop this and move. Do you want it up for the tyre or?
I'll just pick that one side up.
Yeah, okay. Stop it tipping. Okay. Oh, okay.
I reckon that'll do.
Yep.
Let's come that way a little bit.
Going to take the air intake off so we can get in and bolt the little starting gear.
Thanks for the lunch, Stu. That was beautiful.
You're welcome, my friend. So now we need the bolts that hold it on.
Well, that's these ones, isn't it? We take these ones out of here and use these ones.
Use those ones.
I'll tell you what, how much...
Do you want some cutlery from Mum?
If I pick it up with the cutlery... Can I have it? One bolt.
Well done.
He just forked it.
I forked it.
Totally forked. Outboard in neutral here. Gearbox in neutral. Bit of grease on the drive shaft where it goes into the crankshaft. Maybe I should get some of this out while we're here. Flathead.
Yeah.
Love your work.
Well,
Excavation.
do you want to snort first or you want to make
That's
that
how
first
they.
snort?
That's actually how they smuggle cocaine into the country. It's inside outboard engines.
Oh, all right.
Now. And then just the gear selector backwards a bit. That's it. Then there we go.
Here we go.
Look at that.
You do that again on this.
Yeah, okay, hang on.
Hi. How are you?
Adam, how are you, mate?
The bits should be here tomorrow. You should be filming. Did you just hear that, people?
have.
You should be filming.
I have.
Say g'day to Adam.
Keep tightening. Keep tightening, it's coming up.
All
Yeah.
right.
It's coming up. You sure it's started properly? All right. Gonna get the apron on now. It's starting to look like an outboard again. A couple of 10 mils down into the apron. Adrian's putting the airbox back on. Jennifer's put the other ones for the apron in here. We're getting close. Thanks.
Right
It actually moves really nicely.
turn, Clyde.
But it's good, like that's really smooth still. And that's one of the first things where you go, oh, that's a big fix.
Yeah, because it does get nasty down there.
It does, it's hard to fix. So, gear selector, I'll put that fiddly bit in.
We want to put the oil in first. Put the oil in first, Stu, to check the leak.
All right, I'm gonna look up how much it takes. Yamaha.
Hang on. You had a beer at lunch too. Now you're accusing me of not doing anything.
I did not, I had two. 1.9 without oil filter, 2.1 with, so I reckon we throw 2 in.
Yep.
See what happens.
So we just put 2,000 millilitres in.
Even though it only needs 2 litres.
That's right. It's a bit like a ton of feathers and a ton of bricks.
It is.
So, Stu, what are these plugs for in the side of the block? Can we put methanol injection into an outboard? Or nitrous?
Nitrous, definitely nitrous. Nitrous next.
This is the outboard to look out for, folks. So if you do have one that has failed...
I'm sure Sky won't mind when we go, we borrowed it to put nitrous on it. By the way, it blew up.
Yeah.
So oil is not leaking out the prop shaft.
No, but it's leaking out where I'm pouring it in.
You're trying your best, and that's all that matters.
That's what my mum says. She even said that when I used to play soccer and run the wrong way.
What's the third rule of Flight Club?
You can put the fucking...
Have fun and try your best.
That's right. Well,
So, gear selector.
no oil.
No oil, that's a win. Although the oil, I think, the leak is above the sump. So it fills the sump, and the oil is from the pump out, so we actually won't know till it runs. We don't have the fuel filter.
Oh, good work, Stu.
Wrong way around?
Yep.
It's testing you. Oh,
Oh.
is that fuel coming out the telltale?
Yeah. Just turn it down a bit, Jennifer.
So we're going to use the 4 controls, mostly to test them, but also just to save hot wiring it. Not hard, but you know. And we can test things like trim tilt, and we'll just use jumper leads to put power and earth on.
So make sure, arrow to arrow.
Arrow to arrow.
Arrow, arrow.
Sounds like an 80s band. I want to get one of those chest straps like the radio control guys have with their...
Okay, it's on.
I know, I was hoping to trim, but trim is not working. Not a good start. Working there either. At least expect trim tilt. Oh, maybe ignition. Oh, it could be fuse. See if we connect those straps loose.
It's blown.
Yeah, there's another fuse there.
Or is it blown? I can't tell.
Well,
Those spares underneath them, are they?
yeah, pretty sure.
On there.
Yeah,
There you go.
oh, fuse.
Go on.
Wow.
What do you want it back?
It should have been an electrician's due.
Backfire.
Backfire.
We got the leads on the wrong plugs. Wouldn't surprise me.
But how could you get them on the wrong one? Well, you could.
No, that's not right.
Why is it fucking doing that? Hang on, stop. There's 2 of these plugs. That one and that one.
Working with amateurs.
I reckon. Put that one there.
Yeah. The equivalent of getting both two coils around the wrong way.
Right. And put that one there. I
Why
reckon.
aren't they colour-coded for idiots?
Oh, look at that. Should have been an outboard mechanic too.
Should have been. Got some torque. Nice. I don't see any oil in the water.
No.
The wood's just coming straight out before.
Yeah. You just have a look up there.
Yeah, hang on, I'll have a look.
Yeah, you just have a look.
All right, we're going to mount this on. I'm going to take it back to the island so we can just work on it at our leisure. But we're getting closer. Looking forward to seeing this one at the workshop, see what it's like.
Yeah, it'd be good.
This is an engine that Adrian was given by our mate Rob, so big thanks to Rob, and we're going to get back to the workshop and give it a full going over, see if we can get it running properly.
Right.
This is the point in the video where I say the word Sikaflex, so everybody has to take a shot.
All right, that one's through.
Well, just that's got a nut on it.
Once the engine was all bolted up, Adam actually jumped in the franner and put it back in the water. Plan now is to tow it back to Dangar and start finishing it off.
Touchdown.
Well, thanks for watching. It's great to have the engine back on the boat, but there's still a way to go. This boat actually sunk originally, hence the new motor for it, which means things like the steering seized and the wiring's all gone, all that sort of stuff. Turns out it's got a bit of a leak. It was taking on water when it went back in the water. So step one really is finding the leak, fixing it, then getting the engine pumped in properly. But all that coming in a future video. All right, we'll take care. I'll catch you soon. See ya. We've just changed Daffy and Daisy's hutch configuration, so I thought I'd leave a GoPro running that evening and just see how they cope with the change as they decided it was time to go to bed.
Oh.